All right, guys, welcome to the channel. My name's Austin Killian. I'm a local real estate investor, Airbnb owner, and agent here in DFW. Today, we're going to be reacting to a video in which a tenant refuses to leave. This happens all the time. Whether you have long-term rentals, short-term rentals, Airbnb, VRBO, you've probably heard of stories or run into something like this. And today, we're going to be checking out a video where a tenant refuses to leave. So let's hop right in.
You know, most of us have experienced a house guest who has overstayed their welcome.
No. But what happens when they flat out refuse to leave? That's what happened to one Orange County woman who has two on your side to get rid of the unwanted house guest. And here's investigator Christine Lazar.
Believe it or not, there are laws that protect unwanted house guests.
I'm filming this video in Texas. We have much different laws than in California, especially in Orange County, where they can get really protective of the tenant or whoever's doing the intruding or overstaying. So just to preface that.
No, let go of my microphone.
What is going on?
She's a house guest who has overstayed her welcome.
Is her name on the lease?
Her
name is not on the lease.
Living out of Wendy Bear's Irvine apartment for months, sleeping on her living room floor, refusing to leave.
I should leave. Yes, after all the things you've done to me.
But this isn't your apartment. Did you ever think that it would be this hard to get rid of an unwanted house guest?
Oh, absolutely not. If I did, I never would have invited her in. She told me that the people she was living with at the time were crazy and they were stealing her belongings and she was desperate for a place to go.
Wendy says the deal was for Anne Marie to only stay a month, but when 4 weeks passed, she says she showed no signs of leaving.
She didn't once go on a job interview. She would just spend her days sleeping on my couch.
When Wendy had enough, she says she told Anne Marie she was kicking her out. And that's when she says Anne Marie called the police.
Tenants will do this. As a landlord, it gets really tricky. The owner of this property, she's trying to be nice. She's trying to do a favor for someone. You have to make sure you always have a written agreement. Obviously, we run into that risk with short term, but usually people are pretty respectable of the platform. In this particular case, lady's moved in and is refusing to leave, probably because she's broke and she's not even interviewing for a job. And it can get really tricky. This is a great news article though, because this is very realistic. It happens all the time. The landlord's trying to be nice, and this lady is moving in and she's set up shop. She doesn't look like she's going anywhere. In Texas, I've had this happen before. We had a file for an eviction. Okay, hired an attorney, paid them their fee. They did it through all the proper legal ways in the county that we did it in. And at the end of it, they had a trial. Obviously, the people didn't show up. At that point, the county sheriff sends a constable out, posts a written notice, and then at that point, they vacate the tenant. By that time, fortunately for us, the tenant already left once when they had saw the notice from the sheriff's department. This can get really tricky though, because in California, the tenant's rights, regardless if they're paying or not, even though it's not right, are way greater than they are here. So let's keep going.
When they arrived, Wendy says they told her the only way she could get her unwanted house guest out was to evict her, even though she isn't on the lease and never paid rent.
I don't understand how I can work so hard to rent out an apartment, pay all the utilities, and then have absolutely no rights to my place at all.
Eviction attorney Melissa Marsh says the cops were right. It's not easy to kick out an unwanted house guest.
If you allow a visitor into your home, or a guest, somebody who's traveling, a friend who wants to move to California, and they're there for more than 3 days, at that juncture, you are forced to give that individual a 30-day notice, and thereafter possibly face UD proceedings in eviction court.
So the 30-day notice is what we do here as well. When we say eviction, they have 30 days. It's not like they're just getting kicked to the curb. It's already people that have not paid rent. They're refusing to leave, even though you're paying all the bills, and they're staying 30 days more. So don't feel so sorry for these people at first. You're like, oh, you know, they shouldn't get kicked out. They have plenty of time. I mean, you have to really, really try in order to end up in this situation. But the attorney is absolutely correct. And what the landlord should have done right off the bat was given them a 30-day notice. And whether or not it's long-term or short-term, that's what the proper thing to do is. But it becomes tricky when they don't have a written lease agreement. So this lady didn't have one in place. It sounded like it was verbal.
And if you try to just throw out their stuff and lock the door,
That person can then sue you for damage to their property and an illegal lockout.
Wendy did file the 30-day notice of termination of tenancy, and she applied for a restraining order. She even risked a lawsuit and says she locked the doors one afternoon when Anne Marie decided to leave the apartment.
I left for the night, went to a safe place with my daughter, came home the next day, and she had broken in through a window and was sleeping on my floor.
Anne Marie denies that and says it was Wendy who broke the window.
I watched you do it and I filmed it.
Oh, can I see?
No, I'm not showing you anything. This isn't a court of law.
This is my bedroom right now.
Wendy and her daughter now have locks on their bedroom doors. They feel like prisoners in their own home.
The kitchen, we don't even use it now. We just pick up food. I've been eating out of cans.
So we asked Anne Marie to leave.
Who do you think you're, an actress? This is a whole fake, giant, ridiculous thing.
Repeatedly.
She's offered to get you a hotel room.
Right now.
So, new development. This isn't the actual apartment owner. This is just a tenant in an apartment, and the lady is breaking in. Okay, this has a lot of layers to it. We'll keep going. This is ridiculous.
We'll get you a hotel.
Wendy and her boyfriend offered to get a moving truck and take Anne Marie and her dog to a motel and pay for a week's stay. Anne Marie finally agreed to leave 2 months after she arrived at Wendy's apartment.
It's been weeks and weeks of promising this, and I can't believe she actually went. Thank you so much. I know she wouldn't have left if it wasn't for you.
And it's a good thing she did, because eviction proceedings can take between 30 and 60 days, so it's
That lady looks like my old neighbor. Okay, this thing had lots of layers. Wasn't an actual apartment owner. She was just an apartment tenant who let someone stay. Forewarning, if you have anyone that's coming to stay, you don't know them inside and out, would not trust them to stay. I mean, this is just an important rule to always have written agreements in place. Number one takeaway from this entire video: if you're gonna lease out a space, whether it's one room or the entire place, whether it's for 2 days or for 30 days or for a year, have a written agreement in place, signed by both parties, and have multiple copies distributed just in case something like this happens. I feel terrible for the lady that let this lady in. It sounds like she just picked a bad apple and she thought she was doing her friend a favor. I hope y'all enjoyed this reaction. If you liked it, please comment, subscribe, let us know below. We'd love to do more videos. Thank you for watching.